No longer mortal flesh, he turned to a creature of ice and hatred, animated only by bitter desire. Welcome to Raid Story Legends with me, LeilaFox. Hi there, welcome to Raid Story Legends. I am LeilaFox. This is a weekly YouTube series that I do to share with you lore from some of our favorite champs from Raid Shadow Legends. The champ we're going to talk about today is Wurlim Frostking. And before we get into him, we're actually going to talk about Night Revenants as a whole. So you will see here in the Raid Shadow Legends game that there's actual lore for the faction. Now, Wurlim Frostking is a Night Revenant, and here is the lore for that faction. Disciples of the Clef Death Cult, the Night Revenants see themselves as vessels of the spirits of the dead of their order. They raid indiscriminately to capture slaves to support themselves and have ritual sacrifices. Upon initiation, devotees surrender their bodies to the spirits of dark warriors. Now, particularly this last part about surrendering themselves and surrendering their bodies, that fits in with the story that I'm about to share with you for Wurlim Frostking. Here's the story. I hope you enjoy it. According to the legend of Genesis, after Lumeia created the earth and skies of Teleria, she wished to see its vast realms before withdrawing from the mortal plane. Far and wide she went, through the shadowy forest of Durham and through the wind-swept wisps of Crocan, o'er the stormy oceans into the islands of the mysterious east. At the very last leg of her journey, the goddess made her way to the frozen peak of the world, the Winterlands. It was there she turned back to gaze at her creation and cried tears of sorrow, for not even she could save her children from the evils and the sorrow that would be brought upon them. Her tears melted the ice of the glacier and formed a magical lake, the font of Lumeia, whose waters could cure any ailment or injury. Some dared to suggest that even the dead could be brought back to life, for it was the goddess's own love given form. In the millennia that followed, many villains attempted to seize the font. Siroth's vile spawn, necromancers, and tyrants, all hoping to turn Lumeia's power to their selfish ends. The Arbiter had intervened to thwart these schemes, but she alone could not protect the entirety of Teleria. Thus, she sought help, recruiting a clan of mighty ice giants who populated the Winterlands, the Jotuns, to her cause. Their leader, Wurlim Frostking, just, for a giant at least, stalwart, and had pledged the strength of his people to Lumeia. In turn, the Arbiter grants and empowers beyond mortal reckoning, proclaiming him to be one of Lumeia's chosen in this desolate part of the world. For centuries, Wurlim and his king battled the foul minions of Siroth. More champions joined him, the fierce Ursine brothers and the noble Stag Knight, and together they held darkness at bay. Alas, for all their efforts, the power of Siroth could not be denied. As the shadow and corruption spread across Teleria, the Jotuns found themselves outnumbered and gradually overwhelmed. The enemy was insidious, for his servants used the reanimated dead bodies of the giants to sow fear among the defenders. Some renounced their vows and fled south to join others of their kind or forge their own way as mercenaries rather than face the eternal torment of undeath. Discord had even been sown among the Arbiter's own champions. The Stag Knight proposed that the font be encased in ice through a complex arcane ritual and abandoned for a time, while the Frost King's pride would not allow him to abandon the land he swore to protect. Instead, Wurlim led his surviving warriors in a defiant last stand, bellowing challenges to the foe and calling upon Lumeia's favor to aid him in battle. But there were no miracles to be found on that field, only despair. Defeated and mortally wounded, Wurlim used the last of his strength to renounce and curse Lumeia for the false goddess she was. He willingly offered his soul to Siroth in exchange for vengeance, and the Dark One accepted. In a flash of cold blue light, Wurlim was reborn. No longer mortal flesh, he turned to a creature of ice and hatred, animated only by the bitter desire to destroy. As his first act in the service of darkness, Wurlim Frostking cast down the necromancer who had commanded the undead army and took his place, as well as his head. With countless minions now at his beck and call, he made haste to the font. But as the last of Lumeians fell and Wurlim cut his way through the arcane nexus, He saw it encased in ice that would not break no matter what spells or weapons were used against it. Nor did he find the Stag Knight and the other champions to whom he owed a debt of retribution. With a bellow of rage that shattered glaciers, the Frost King vowed that he would not rest until the font was desecrated and the Winterlands belonged to Siroth, no matter how many lifetimes it would take. I find this story so very interesting. So Wurlim Frostking, I mean, technically he starts out as a good guy. Him and his kin, they start out helping Lumea. They start out on the same path as the Arbiter and as her champions. And then we have the undead and the necromancers start moving in. And in the end, he renounces everything he believed in, and instead of fighting to protect his kin and fighting to protect the land, he moves into more vengeance. He wants vengeance, he wants revenge. And then now, instead of being a hero, we see Wurlim Frostking turning into more a villain, now being on Siroth's side rather than Lumea's. It's an interesting story. We see this kind of thing happen quite often in different lore and in different stories. And what I particularly like about this one is this story also intertwines with the Stag Knight. It also intertwines with the two Ursine brothers that we have in Raid Shadow Legends. So I really love when they do that, when they start putting some of these stories together. And what you're going to find is I have other stories I'm going to be sharing that does the same thing. And it starts kind of melding some of the lore together. And I feel like that gives it so much more value, and it makes us appreciate some of these champions more. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please feel free to subscribe, leave me a comment, maybe a like, let me know what you think. Tell me what you liked about the story. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is there something else you wish that they did with Wurlim Frostking? Is he a champ that you currently own or that you would like to have, and do you enjoy him in the game? I would love to know your thoughts, and I look forward to sharing my next Raid Story Legends video with you. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our video, you can catch us live on twitch.tv/LeilaFoxNation 4 days a week, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on by and be part of our community, and we'll see you there.